Well, today we obviously pay our annual tribute to our mothers, those who are living and those who are no longer with us, for their sacrifices and love. Their influence endures, and we are especially grateful. And I'm especially grateful, and I think we all are grateful for mothers. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, today marks the end of one thing and the beginning of another. In this place and in this hour, we welcome you into the company of educated people, a ritual repeated at scores of American colleges and universities during this season of joy and renewal. We have all arrived at this wonderful moment together because of the countless gestures of hope made by the generations that preceded us. The baby born, the family begun, the care and nurturing of our schools, our community, a wide array of faiths, and of course our families and their families before them. And now it is time for you to take your leave. And with hopeful hearts, we ready the boats for you to set sail and discover new lands. Your eyes are fixed on a distant horizon and your spirits uplifted by the endless possibilities of life that await you. Mindful that new adventures and good work still lie ahead. I know that for many of you, your exhilaration is mixed with a kind of pit-in-the-stomach anxiety of what's next. It's certainly how I felt at my graduation, so much so that I decided not to leave college. And I never have. You have left your mark on this great and wonderful college. And for you, you've come to understand that the purpose of your time here was not merely preparation for a craft or a profession, important as this might be, but preparation to serve humanity. All of us assembled here today wish you the prospect of making a living and a prosperous life. But we wish you much more than that. And while we wish you happiness, we wish you even more the prospect of living a good life. For while the first may bring you pleasure, the second will bring you a happiness that endures even when pleasure is absent. You know, your Emerson narrative, your Emerson story is deeply American. It's a proxy for the ideas and hopes about the unfolding future of an increasingly diverse United States. The common enterprise of many divergent people and perspectives acting together in shared interests. The democratic vista that Walt Whitman, when evoking the opening lines of the heroic poems of Virgil and Homer, said in his own prose poem, The Leaves of Grass, I hear America singing, I hear the varied carols. So you too are ready to make music, soul-awakening, foot-stomping, life-affirming, joyful music wherever you live, work, or play. And if you do, I promise you that the world will hear you, and having heard you, will be a better place for it. You know, there are really two kinds of people in this world. Those who see the future and run away from it, and those who see the same future and run towards it. You have been educated to run towards the future. And this being a very important election year puts your education and your future work in a very special light. You know, as we have seen in the presidential primaries, the noisy drumbeats of slogan, the jangling discords of the news, the great storm of sound bites that rain down ceaselessly upon the citizens, make democracy vulnerable to those messages that are the loudest or most persistent, rather than those that are most reasonable or well considered. I dare say that the waves and bits of detritus we endure now surpass anything that previous generations ever knew. The reduction of ideas and languages to the lowest common denominator is one of the great dangers of contemporary American political society. The prevalent notion seems to be that a great mass of people cannot understand, cannot form independent judgment upon important topics that affect their lives, that they are incapable of meaningful intellectual engagement and reflection, attributes that distinguish our common humanity. If independent judgment is a sine qua non of effective citizenship in a democracy, then we must admit that it is harder to maintain now than it has ever been before. And in this disintermediated, convergent, asynchronistic world where nothing seems to last, not the words we speak, not the sentences we write, if in fact we write anything other than shorthand phrases or symbols not to exceed 140 characters, not the selfies that we endlessly take, where emojis are 21st century hieroglyphs substitute for complete thought, where time seems to have collapsed on itself, where TV journalists have become reality TV stars starring in their own overhyped news programs. Recorded history is instantaneously everywhere and nowhere. No doubt you've heard me say that we are the storytellers, we are the myth makers, we are the truth tellers, and now as you take your leave from Emerson, you will begin to understand what this really means for you and what it means for the world. Whether in the communication fields of journalism, marketing, or communication sciences disorders, or in the arts fields of poems and plays and fiction and making films, whether you will tell or shape the stories in front of or behind the camera, whether you will be marketing and public relations experts or actors or writers or preachers or producers, you will wield enormous power and enormous responsibility. You will define the world in which we live, and more precisely how we view that world. You will frame the issues we address and how we respond to them. You will present products and services that shape the world. You will enable democracies to function by creating informed citizens. And you will awaken giants from their sleep to broaden the diversity of our theaters, of our films, and of our studios. So when you leave here, do not leave your humanity behind when you depart. You know, you have inspired me to do my very best work, all of you. There are days when walking across the common when a brilliant sun and a clear blue sky strikes the snow piled high with a crystalline beauty, where the barred clouds like those in Keats' famous Ode to Autumn bloom the soft dying day and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue, or when the spring air is sweet with the redolence of the young cherry blossoms, or in the late refulgent summer, to paraphrase Ralph Waldo Emerson, where the grass grows, the buds burst, the meadow is spotted with fire and gold and the tint of flowers. It seems a luxury to draw the breath of life. I see you there. I see you there in your wonderfully arrayed costumes, your pied beauty, and I am inspired by who you are and by what you will become. It is a gift. It is a gift for me. And I realize how much more I have received from being your president than I have given you. A few things to take with you. Be discerning. Be critical of everything. And that includes me and people of perceived power like me. By the way, some of you are already very good at that. Live lives of integrity and seek habitually to live lives of reflection and introspection. Cherish and tend with care the friends that you have made. Great friends who are also great people. You know, a former college president and a great friend of mine once wrote an essay about the value of liberal arts. He said that the public self that we all show to the world is obviously important. An engagement in public life, an engagement in one's profession, and all those things are obviously important, but what I hope a liberal arts education does is to make you ask questions about yourself. What is it that makes me happy? What makes me a good person? What would make me a better person? Why is it so difficult to come to grips with unhappiness or failure or sadness? Why is life so unfair to some people and not to others? These are the questions that a liberal arts education, that great literature, great essays help you ask yourself. And he said finally, I think they make you a wiser person because of it. So I hope that you will come to understand that your education here was deeply rooted in and connected to human experience and human endeavor, and that the process by which you deepen your connection to the living world will excite you, it will inspire you, it will befuddle you, it will delight you and confound you every day of your life. So when you depart from this commonwealth of learning, may your life bring you some work of noble note. May you find meaning in your commitment to others. And may your memories of Emerson always, always be undying. Thank you. Good luck and good cheer. Thank you.